It's just not fair. Now, there's a line we've had down since we were about 3 years old, right? With varying degrees of stomp and circumstance, we've kept that line up pretty good, well into our teenage years, well into our adult years. Even then, we hear some quick variation at some travesty of justice. That's not fair. They get all the work, or I did all the work, they get all the credit. It's not fair. Why did she get the promotion? I can't believe the coach didn't suspend him. That's just not fair. You are going to tell me that my kid is getting punished and he isn't? That's not fair. How many of us thought the same thing after we hear the gospel parable today, right? That just doesn't sound right. There's nothing fair about that. When those people get paid the same, they put in less hours, they worked less, and not only that, they got paid first. Something's not right here. But maybe we're just seeing it from the wrong perspective. Maybe we need to take a look at it from another viewpoint. You see, if we only identify with those people who have worked all day, who bore the day's heat, then we may be troubled by God's generosity. But what if we happen to be one of those people, the other people? What if the measure of labor that God is using has nothing to do with how many hours we spend on our knees in prayer, and more about just what are we praying for, or who are we praying for? What if our standard of measure of fairness was how we loved all of our neighbors, not just the ones we agree with, not just the ones who vote the same as we do? What if our measure from which God was measuring was exactly how generous or not we have been willing to share the gifts that God has given us? How often have we actually visited the sick when we had the chance, or fed the hungry, or clothed the naked? What if the standard of which God uses to define those people was defined by our willingness to admit our need of forgiveness, or our willingness to forgive others? What if indeed the rules of God's kingdom in terms of fairness are nothing at all like we'd expect, or how we work and live by and agree to in this worldly kingdom? You know, for 10 years I had the privilege of celebrating Mass at the maximum security prison in Portage with the inmates that were there. Those men knew they were those people. They knew exactly where they stood in terms of society, the bars on the door, the colors they wore, the walls that surrounded them, the guard towers that overshadowed them. Every day, they were reminded that they were those people. I learned so much from those men. They had a better sense of their relationship with God and His mercy, and taught me so much about that. I guess what I'm saying is this, folks, is if we were listening not from the perspective of those who had been working all day, but rather from the perspective of one of those people, wouldn't we be thrilled with the generosity that God is willing to offer? Because aren't we all, in some way, one of those people? This parable would probably not stand muster to our HR departments, would it? But it does have a lot to say about how God operates. Isaiah doesn't mince words. He just simply says this: God's thoughts are not our thoughts, and our ways are not God's ways. In fact, as high as the heavens are from the earth, that's how far God's ways and our ways differ. So maybe the next time that we're about ready to stomp our feet and declare it's not fair, maybe we should just sit back and say, thank God.